So I definitely see what Fenix was going for when they were designing the PD45R Ace, especially letting us program the UI 6 different ways based on our lighting needs. That feature is this flashlight's biggest pro, but in my opinion, it's also its biggest negative. And of course, I'll explain what I mean throughout this video. But first, let's take a look at everything the PD45R Ace comes with. Of course, here's the box, nice product shot on the front, lumens and runtime information on the back, and of course those 6 different lighting options which you can program. Comes with a USB-A to USB-C charging cable. In this bag is an adjustable lanyard and 2 spare O-rings. Comes with this nylon holster, which I'm not the biggest fan of these types of holsters here. Velcro right there on the front, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's in the holster. Yep, there you go. An insert showing more Fenix products, a warranty card, and of course, the user manual. But let's put all this off to the side here, and I'll give you guys another close-up of the PD45R Ace from Fenix. And while you guys are checking this out, right down the barrel there, let's talk about some of the features. All right, the PD45R Ace has a maximum output of 3,200 lumens, a maximum throwing distance of 410 meters, a max intensity of 41,900 candela, and a maximum runtime of 57 hours on eco mode. And throwing out those 3,200 lumens is the new Luminous SFT70 Generation 2 LED with a color temperature of about 6,500 Kelvin, which makes it a cool white beam. The standout feature for the PD45R Ace is its 6 different programmable options for the lighting modes, and the mechanical rotating dial that helps set those programmable lighting modes, and a lockout mode. And everything is controlled with a single tail switch. The body is CNC'd out of aluminum with a Type 3 hard anodized finish. Inside there's a 3.6 volt, 6,000 milliamp hour 21700 lithium ion battery that can be charged via the USB-C charging port on the outside of the body, or it can be slot charged. And this is Fenix's very first 6,000 milliamp hour 21700. It also has a dust and waterproof rating of IP68. The 6 means it's completely dustproof, and the 8 means it's submersible in up to 6 feet of water and has a 1 meter impact resistance. Plus a limited lifetime warranty that includes a 5-year free repair policy. All right, let's talk dimensions. The PD45R Ace has a length of 6.21 inches, a head diameter of 1.18 inches, and a body diameter of 1.02 inches. All right, let's weigh this bad boy. Plop it right there on the scale. Comes in at 7.1 ounces, and in grams, that's 202 grams. And yes, I am weighing it with the battery in it and the pocket clip on it. All right, the PD45R Ace from Fenix. What can I say about this flashlight other than it's awesome with some negatives, of course. And like I said at the beginning of this video, the biggest pro of this flashlight could possibly be its biggest negative. And that has to do with the programmable nature of this flashlight, because don't get me wrong, that's awesome. I'm really happy to see Fenix or any lighting company give us this much control over the UI. In fact, I want to see more of this with more programmability. But my biggest negative with that is the 6 options are sort of limited. There's only a couple options that I feel like I'm going to use. So if I'm not going to use 4 of the 6 programmable options, do I really need this flashlight? But like I said, we'll talk about that a little bit later on in this video. So let's talk about the quality of the PD45R Ace here, because if you guys are familiar with Fenix, this is typical Fenix quality, which is A+. And if I get in real close, you can see that knurling on the body and around this twist ring that hides that USB-C port. So that gives this flashlight some really nice grip. CNC'd out of aluminum, Type 3 hard anodized finish. So if you guys are a fan of Fenix flashlights, this isn't going to disappoint. It's going to be right up your alley. It feels nice. And now I'll give you a look right down the barrel there at that single Luminous SFT70 Generation 2, a brand new LED from Luminous, the new SFT70 Generation 2, capable of 3,200 lumens. But you can see it sits far back in that smooth reflector, and that's going to be responsible for that 410 meter throw. That is a glass lens right there that sits back not very far, about 1/8 of an inch back from the very tip of this flashlight. So this striking bezel, it's not a very deep bezel. So a shallow striking bezel, as you can see right there, not very aggressive. The pocket clip here is a split ring removable pocket clip that is lens down only. And I'll give you a close up of that single tail switch right there. Nice silicone button. The button feels really nice, but one problem I have with this flashlight and a lot of Fenix flashlights is these two tabs right here where you put the lanyard on either side. It doesn't go up far enough, so you can see that button, that tail switch, sticks up over those two tabs, which means, of course, I can't tail stand this light. I can't tell you how much this is a negative for me. It's not necessarily a deal breaker because I can still use this flashlight in other ways, but I work a lot at night. And I love to tail stand my flashlight so I can bounce the beam off the ceiling and light up the whole room. Or if I'm in the back of the truck, the same deal. I like to tail stand it. So that is just a huge negative for me, and I know it's a negative for a lot of you guys out there. I really wish they would just redesign their tail cap and make these able to tail stand. I mean, come on, guys. So let's move on. Under this little twist cap right here, if I twist it the right way, that is where the USB-C charging port is hidden right there. So I am a fan of the hidden USB-C charging port, but I am not a fan of the hidden LED battery life indicator right there. You can see it is a boot up battery life indicator. That green shows I'm near 100%. It goes out after a few seconds, but I just don't like that I have to twist open this cap every single time I want to see my battery life, or every time I turn it on to see that battery life. A lot of you guys say that it's good to hide an LED under a twist cap like this on a tactical flashlight because then it won't give away your position. But I say to that LED only goes on when you turn on the flashlight. So this is going to give away your position more than that LED is going to. Plus it goes out after a few seconds anyway. So they could have easily put this anywhere on this flashlight and made it a more functional flashlight. But that's not what they did. They put it under that twist cap. I like the USB-C port under there, not the LED battery life indicator. And at the tail end of this flashlight is where all the fun stuff happens. So there's 3 selectable positions right here. This is called general mode. This is lockout, and that is the set mode. So when you set it to general mode, that's how you operate the flashlight normally based on whatever option you chose when you were programming it. So just fully press in the tail switch and then half press to cycle through the brightness levels, like I said, based on whatever option you have chosen. The middle position is, of course, lockout mode. So when the flashlight is off in lockout mode, if you push in that tail switch, nothing happens. And the last position is the set mode. So this is how you set the 6 different optional brightness levels. I'll go over the UI in just a little bit, but so far, I'm a big fan of this mechanical twisting dial to lock out the flashlight, turn it to everyday normal mode, or to program the flashlight. I think it works very well. So now let's take a look at this brand new 6,000 milliamp hour battery here from Fenix. This is their very first 6,000 milliamp hour battery, 3.6 volt, 6,000 milliamp hour, 21700 rechargeable lithium ion battery. So Fenix recommends that you only use this battery in this flashlight, otherwise it just won't work properly or hurt the flashlight altogether. I haven't, of course, tested that yet because I want this flashlight functional for this review, but I don't think I'm going to be changing out this battery anytime soon. Actually, before I put that battery back in there, let me just take a look down there at the head, and yes, it is a dual spring system. I absolutely love that. You can clearly see that spring, and let me just bring in another flashlight so you can see down in there. There we go. So now I'll return that battery back in. Plus, before I move on here, I really like this gold accent around the tail. It sort of reminds me of some older Fenix flashlights when they had a lot of the gold accents with the black body. They kind of got away from that a little bit. So I'm sort of happy to see that come back. All right, let's talk about the lumens and runtime information. You can see there's 6 different brightness levels plus strobe for a total of 7. So Eco is 30 lumens and has a runtime of 57 hours. Low is 100 lumens and has a runtime of 30 hours. Medium, the sweet spot, is 300 lumens and has a runtime of 9 hours and 30 minutes. High is 600 lumens with a runtime of 5 hours and 30 minutes. Ultra high is 1400 lumens with a runtime of 3 hours and 20 minutes. And then turbo is 3200 lumens with a runtime of 2 hours and 20 minutes. there's an asterisk right there as always. And I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get 2 hours and 20 minutes on turbo in this flashlight. And you're going to see that with my lumen test and turbo runtime test. And you can see strobe is the full 3200 lumens. But regarding the mode spacing here, this is some of the best mode spacing I've seen in a long time. Going from 30 to 100 to 300 to 600 to 14 to 32, that is great mode spacing. One of my favorites. But what's not one of my favorites is that eco mode at 30 lumens. I wish there was a 1 lumen moonlight mode here. 30 lumens at the lowest level here I think is too bright, especially for a tactical style flashlight. I want this flashlight to be super low when I need it to be. So I think that's a miss regarding the lumens, but everything else here I think is spot on. And now the UI. I already started talking about the UI when showing this mechanical dial here. So you already know that it has to be in general mode, and you have to fully press in the tail button there and then half press to cycle through the 6 brightness levels there. There is eco, low, medium, high, ultra high, and there is turbo 3200 lumens. So with all of those brightness levels cyclable, I'm obviously on option 6, and I'll pop up the graph here that shows you all the different options. So option 6 on the bottom has all of the boxes checked, all the way from eco to turbo, even strobe, but every single option has strobe available. And I know this programmable option right here can be a little intimidating to people, but it's honestly very, very easy. If I switch it back over and switch it back over to set, you're going to see it's going to flash 6 different times. That means I'm in option 6. If I want option 1, all I have to do is fully press this button in once. It's going to flash once. Now I'm in option 1. If I press it twice, flash twice. Now I'm in option 2, and so on and so forth. And to lock in that selection, put the dial back over to general, and now I'm in option 2. So now I just have, what is it? Option 2 is low and turbo. So there is low and there is turbo. And I'll get more into this after I show you the rest of the UI here. So when the flashlight is off, if I turn the dial over to lockout, pushing the button locks out the flashlight. A nice, quick, and easy lockout. I like that. But if the flashlight is on, if it's right there on turbo, and then I lock it out, it stays there in lockout no matter what I do with that button. So it either locks the flashlight out completely or it locks in the last brightness level. And yes, it does have a mode memory. So if I put it over there to low, turn it off, turn it right back on, it goes right back to low. And that works with all 6 of those options too. So it works in any brightness level. And to reach strobe from either off or on, just fully press in the tail switch all the way, and there is strobe. And yes, it does have a momentary on, so just half press whatever mode you're in, and you don't have to click it fully down, as you can see, so just half press for momentary silent on. And that's pretty much it. The UI here is fairly simple, even with those 6 programmable modes. The only problem is you kind of have to memorize what those 6 modes are if you're out in the field and want to switch it on the fly. But let's go back to these 6 different options here. Like I said, this is the biggest pro of this flashlight. Giving you 6 different ways to program this light, I think, is a huge step forward. And a big pro for this flashlight if these options work for you. Because for someone like me, only a few of these options work for me. For me, I only like option 2 and option 4. Option 2, being able to go from low to turbo, I think is great. I think that's one of the better modes if you're patrolling in law enforcement, if you're in security in some sort. Going from low to turbo, I think that'll be very useful. Or option 4, going from eco to medium to ultra high to turbo, I sort of like that option as well. I'm looking at option 1, going right to ultra high, and that's the only brightness level. Yeah, I guess that can be cool, but why not go straight to turbo? Why only ultra high? I get that it has a longer runtime, but I feel like instant access to turbo would be more useful. But you might say, what about option 6? You have all 6 brightness levels. Well, I'm going to say, I think that's too many to cycle through. In a normal flashlight, you just have 3 cyclable brightness levels, low, medium, and high. Press and hold for turbo, or when it's off, press and hold for moonlight or eco mode. I think that is a good UI because that gives you the best of both worlds. Only 3 cyclable brightness levels plus instant access to turbo, instant access to its lowest mode, which you don't have here. You don't have instant access to either one of these, and I'm not counting the mode memory as instant access to eco or turbo. Because yes, technically you can have instant access to turbo, but you have to leave it there the last time you turn the flashlight off. So no, that doesn't count. No instant access to turbo, no instant access to eco, and no programmable option that lets me do low, medium, and high, instant access to turbo, instant access to eco. So if I only like 2 of these options, or if you're somebody that doesn't like any of these programmable options, that's a huge negative for this flashlight. Yes, it gives me 6 different ways to program this flashlight, but why can't I add whatever mode I want? Why can't I add low, medium, and high? Or low, medium, and turbo? Why not give me that instead of these 6 preset options? But if you're looking at all these options right here and say, yeah, all 6 of those are great, then yeah, this flashlight is definitely for you. All right, now it's time for my lumen test. So I'm going to show you what I got on eco. This is what I got on low. This is medium. This is on high, on ultra high, and on turbo. And now for my turbo runtime test. I'll put on the screen right now when turbo initially started stepping down and when it ended that initial step down and where the lumens were at. And this was a 2-minute test. So I'll put on the screen after 2 minutes where the lumen level was. All right, let's do the heat test. I let the flashlight run on turbo for about 2 minutes or so. And I'll put on the screen after 1 minute what the temperature was at the head and the body. And the same thing, the temperature at the head and the body after 2 minutes. And I can tell you the head feels pretty hot. It got to about, I don't know, about 136 degrees. I'll have the exact temperature on the screen. But the body was holding to right around 100, 101 degrees. So you don't really need gloves unless you feel like you want to touch the head of the flashlight, which I wouldn't really recommend. All right, time for the beam test. So I'm here in my backyard. I'm going to start on that 30 lumen eco. And already you can tell that this is going to be a very spotty flashlight. You can see that by the beam profile right there, that real hot spot right dead center. And it's going to have a pretty crispy outer perimeter, but you're going to see that on higher lumen levels. But I'm not going to spend too much time on eco, but actually on eco, I think I'm already hitting that tree right there. Am I hitting the barn already? A little bit on eco. That's crazy. No way. But yeah, I'm seeing it. All right. So let's go to low. And yeah, definitely hitting the tree there. I'll put up a distance between me and the tree. Scan across. And me and that barn right there. Do I have any friends out here in the backyard tonight? I don't see any. Any in the shrubs back there? Nothing. Well, that's disappointing. No foxes, no deer, no raccoons, no wolves, nothing. Disappointing. But anyways, all right, let's get back to the flashlight test. So that is low, 100 lumens. Right here, my favorite mode, I like to call the sweet spot, 300 lumens on medium. And this is nice. You can see that nice cool white beam. Definitely hitting those trees right there. So yeah, I mean, so far, if I hold this flashlight still and just move the camera back and forth, get a nice idea of that profile. Nice evenly spread beam all the way to that crispy outer perimeter. And yeah, just a really decent sized hotspot too. So it's not one of those super small hotspots. It's actually a usable spotty beam, which I really like, especially for this style of flashlight. So let's go to high. Oh yeah. Bugs are everywhere, man. If you guys were watching my last flashlight video, the Nightcore Teeny 3, fog rolled in like suddenly. You can sort of see it here a little bit. Just a little mist out here. I live out in the country, but it was really thick. One of the craziest things that's happened to me since I've been doing these flashlight videos here. All right, so easily hitting that tree there. Ultra high, 1400 lumens. Boom. Oh yeah, hitting even the far back trees back there. Very nice, man. And then let's go right to turbo. Turbo lights up a lot back here. Like it's, it's not a really floody beam. It's not meant to be. It's already starting to get really hot in my hands. Bugs. You guys saw my heat test. It's going to get to about 136 degrees in your hand. So just be aware of that. Keep blowing off these things from my wrist. They are loving this light. So what do you guys think of the beam here? I'm going to go to another part of my lawn here, and I'll give you guys another look at this beam. Let's go. All right, my final thoughts on the PD45R Ace. Some of the positives are it's a very high quality, well-built flashlight. Being able to program 6 different lighting modes based on your needs, I think is really cool. IP68 dust and waterproof. This is submersible up to 6 feet. That's really nice. And for a tactical flashlight, it has a very nice beam profile, nice and spotty. I like the cool white color temperature for my tac flashlights and not really any green tint from what I've seen. Sorry, I just hit the microphone here. Now let's talk about some of the negatives here. The first negative is the 6 programmable lighting options, where if you don't like any of the 6 options, why would you buy the flashlight? I've already talked enough about that throughout this video, so you guys already know what I'm talking about. The next negative is no instant access to turbo or no instant access to eco. Technically there is if you leave it in mode memory, but I'm not counting that. The next negative is there's no moonlight or firefly mode. I think eco is too bright. Also, the battery life indicator being hidden under this twist ring right here, that's a negative. And the last negative here is the inability to tail stand the PD45R Ace. But even with all those negatives, I still think this is a fantastic release from Fenix. And actually, I would like to see them expand a little bit further with this programming feature. Just give me a little bit more flexibility when choosing my modes. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. What do you think of the Fenix PD45R Ace? If you want to check it out for yourself, I will have links down below in my description box. But if you did enjoy this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe. I think I have a spider on me. I feel the web. Bugs everywhere outside. And go!